Artlist.io. Music licensing reimagined. Artlist.io. Music licensing reimagined.
Peace and blessings, family. Welcome to Sunday Sitting with Sisters. I'm back in the building and I'm so excited because I'm joined by this incredible sister. So sorry I missed you in Ghana, but she is in Ghana, Sister Victoria. How are you, sis?
I am doing phenomenal. My body is tired just from all the work, but my spirit is strong. So I'm doing good.
Right on, right on. Well, I want to first let the people know just a little something about you because I don't want to mess up your name. Could you pronounce your full name and what your name means? Did you hear me? Or did this a delay?
Okay. So I was born Victoria Angel Ely. I had a mentor when I was, yes. So my given name at birth is Victoria Angel Ely. I was named after my aunt Victoria. In college, I had a mentor that gave me the name Wanjiro, which means Black warrior. The Black warriors from Kenya, the Kikuyu tribe. And then, so some of my family calls me Wanjiro. So Victorious Wanjiro, the victorious warrior angel, right? And that's me. That's who I am.
Right on. So, sis, you are a holistic educator, a transnational movement builder, and you're also a co-founder of it's a Caliph Consulting. So just, yes, Khalifa Consulting. So with that,
yes. So I founded an organization called Khalifa Consulting. Exactly. And I'm sure a lot of people don't know that California is named after an Afro-Indigenous woman that, you know, her name was Khalifa, Queen Khalifa. And so I love to embody that energy, being born and raised in California, really taking on that California energy, and just honoring.
So, family, she is coming live to us from Ghana. So, we sometimes will have like a delay because what you're hearing in this interview partly is a delay. So she may have to sign back on to restart. So it's the internet kind of issue. So, but we're definitely going to get this interview in. So hold on, family. Okay, hold on. Oh, let me just skip that one. Okay, sis.
I'm sorry about that.
That's all right. Take your time. It's a delay, so don't even worry about it.
Hold on one second. I'm trying to make my connection strong.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. What was the last thing that you heard me say?
You talked about California being named after an Afro-Indigenous woman.
Right. And so that's why, being born and raised in California as a Black woman, although feeling that I was really raised by the African ancestry, the indigenous ancestry of California, it was important for me to name my organization Khalifa Consulting, right? And I definitely embody that energy of Afro-Indigenous warrior women coming together to liberate our minds, bodies, our spirits, to liberate the women, the children, the Black family, the Indigenous family. And so that's why I named my enterprise Khalifa Consulting.
Okay. So before we get into your body of work, how would you describe your coming of age all the way up until you were 18? How would you describe that part of your life? What was your experiences?
Yeah. So, our people have been through so much trauma, right? As Africans in America, generational trauma passed down due to colonization, imperialism. And I would say my family, unfortunately, was no different, And so because of that, I had a tumultuous upbringing. I was a ward of the state of California and a foster child. My parents, abused drugs, and my mom was a prostitute, my dad was a pimp, and I really, although my family, I had those family, that was my family, right? But it was through that the pain that was able to create the diamond, right? It was that pressure that created who I am. So because I didn't have my mom or my dad really nurturing and cultivating me, I had to get that from my community. And it was from my aunties and the community organizers from the Black Panther Party of Los Angeles, in the Bay Area, from the All Africans People's Revolutionary Party, from sister circles, right? That raised me and stewarded me, from my elders from Caras Unity Center. I'm so thankful that I sat at the feet of these men and women and got the nurturing, got the medicine, got the education, to heal my mind, body, and spirit, to build myself up, but my primitive years, I was a foster child. I lived in a foster home with, I think there was around 7 or 8 of us in Venice, California. My foster home was raided at one time because people in our foster home were selling drugs and using drugs, crack cocaine. I was born with crack cocaine in my system. I was a crack baby, and it's interesting because, side note, I'm here now in Ghana. I'm 35. And when I tell these stories, when people ask me, it is a big part of who I am. If my parents hadn't have used drugs, if I wasn't a foster child, if I wasn't a street kid, I wouldn't have blossomed into who I am today. Right. And so people often say, especially in Ghana, they say, oh, don't tell about, your upbringing and your mom and your dad. Both of my parents are now, they're clean and sober. They don't use drugs anymore. But I have to tell that story because, again, it doesn't make sense about who I am if I don't tell that story. I'm not ashamed of that. My parents are not ashamed, and so it was through that I was able to, that's how diamonds are made, right? Through the pressure, and I'm not going to allow other people and how they look down on, drug abuse and drug use, because again, I know it is because of systemic racism and capitalism and supremacy that the drugs were put into our community, and our people were specifically so brilliant and bright and shining so bright that the government had to put the poisons into our community, and so I don't blame my parents, because like many of our brothers and sisters struggled with drug abuse and, all these oppression. It was strategic. Right. And so I'm not going to let other people make me feel bad about my upbringing. I have to tell my stories for the other, ghetto girls and hood rats and, trap queens. That's who I am as well. Yes, I'm a healer and a spiritualist, and I'm from the block, and I'm from South Central. OK, what? Like I'm proud.
I love it. I love it.
Of who I am. And it's because of that who I can touch those girls on the block in the booty shorts and in the long weave and the eyelashes, and I can connect with them. And I can also connect with the refined women and this, and come to a bridge and come to a meeting place and be all of the faces of Black women, of melanated women, and women of color, wow. And so that's who I am.
So how did you go from there to attending California State University of Fullerton?
Oh, well, thank by God's grace, Fullerton accepted me, being a foster child. It was intense. I was a foster child, but I was in AP classes. I was in honors classes. I was in accelerated classes. So my GPA wasn't that high. I also had to go to like children's court often. I was kind of struggling emotionally with being in the foster care system, my mom and my dad, and just crying a river and wallowing in my sorrows, teenage adolescence. And California University Fullerton were one of the schools that I was accepted into, I didn't want to venture out too far. Also because as a ward of the state of California, and in those days, if you were a foster child, if you got into any California state school or university, your tuition was paid for and covered for. So I didn't want to go out of state. It just made sense for me to stay locally, And so Fullerton, it wasn't too far out of LA. It was still kind of, close by, I think around like an hour and a half from Los Angeles, where I grew up. And it worked, So I also had a big sister at the time, like, play sister, who was at Fullerton, and she took me under her wing and helped me get adjusted and situated there as well. We were roommates for the first couple of years. So Fullerton it worked out, kind of like, the Long Beach, Northridge, Fullerton, all of those surrounding LA County schools. And it just was, one of the schools that accepted me. Wasn't too far from LA. I had a big sister there. So I said, and it was perfect. It was really perfect for me because I was able to hone in and focus on my studies. I was active and involved on my campus. I was the administrative assistant for the Black Student Union. After a couple years, I was the president. And being the president, and being the administrative assistant of the Black Student Union really was the start of my community activism and my social justice work. That's where I started. I even have newspaper articles here in the library from those days when we would do protests on campus and events and speeches and bring the high school kids to campus. So yeah, I still have, I don't want to take too much time, but I still have newspaper articles around. I may have to look in a second. But yeah, it was the start of my community organizing. So it was just enough. It had the right mix of, it wasn't a party school, but it had just enough melanated Black people where we had our own community, and it was just right for me to, again, like I say, practice my community organizing. And then it wasn't far from Los Angeles, so I was able to go into LA for the bigger kind of like protests, speeches, conferences. Yeah.
So, sis, when you were there, you earned a BA in Ethnic Studies and a BS in Child and Adolescent Development. What made you do those two areas, or get degrees in those two?
Yeah. Well, in high school, I was always a bright child. And I was in, like I said, some of the accelerated courses, but none of them highlighted Black anything. None of them highlighted melanin, right? And when I first got to college and I saw you could take African studies and ethnic studies, I was like, wow, I want to do that. I want to learn about me. And so for the first time, I was able to take classes in Black history, Black studies, and I was like blown away. And I fell in love, right? And so the ethnic studies, the African studies was for me. It was the first, and really, I attribute that to a lot of my scholarship, right? Even here, I don't want to do too much, but my library in Ghana is like one of the things I'm most proud of. I have all of my books here on like African studies, culture, and it was being able to read books on Black people where I fell in love with reading, with myself. And, you can go so far from just the poetry, the history, the spirituality. And I just got lost in all of us, right? And then child development, I've always been drawn to youth and children, and I'm very youthful and playful and childlike. And the teaching, I knew that's what I wanted to do. My grandmother was a teacher. My family, I come from a lineage of educators. And so that's something also that's a part of my family lineage. We're educators, right? And so child development, ethnic studies, and then that's a lot of where my work is birthed from, is the culture, the education, the pedagogy, the theory of culturally responsive teaching, culturally responsive education, right? And I taught in the school system for some time, and now here in Ghana, that's a lot of what my work is blending the education and the culture.
So what made you, after you graduated, what made you leave Southern California and come up to the Bay Area? What was up in the Bay for you that you wanted to come up north?
I kind of touched on it a little bit, but I was around 21. And again, growing up in Southern California, the Bay Area, to Southern Californians like myself that are into and proud of our Black African culture, we see the Bay as our cousins. Those are our homies, the Bay to LA, it's a network, and so even when I was in Southern California, I would go to Laney for the Malcolm X Consciousness conferences. I would go for different programs. I would write proposals to go to African Liberation Day in Sacramento and bring a caravan of my comrades and colleagues there. And so going to Sacramento, going to Oakland, going to San Francisco was just another thing that we did, and I feel like I got to a point in my life where I did LA, right? I was a foster youth. I emancipated from the state. I knew how to take public transportation to every neighboring community in Los Angeles County. I studied with, healers from the traditional Orisha community and the Kemetic communities in Los Angeles. And I got that medicine, right? I got those teachings. I had elders, like I said, the All Africans People's Revolutionary Party and the Black Panther Party. And it was just time for me to take higher ground, right? To travel north, right? And also, it was hard for me at that time. My mom wasn't sober and she was using drugs. And so when my mom would call me, or I would miss my mom and I would want to go see her, I would be, up and down Los Angeles, La Brea, Adams, West Boulevard, the neighborhoods, looking for her, right? And so similarly to the young girls on E14, right? And so for me, I was escaping one Black Mecca community, the Crenshaw, the Ladera, South Central, to another Black community within California that still had that culture, that Blackness, right? But I wouldn't have to worry about seeing my mom or my dad, right? Randomly in LA, right? And so those were kind of the reasons why I moved to Northern California. And I feel like Los Angeles gave me my foundation, but the Bay helped ground me in my spiritual medicine. Or LA gave me that foundation as well in the spiritual medicine, but the Bay gave me to ascend into that medicine, right? In addition to, I also went to Ghana at 20. When I was still in Southern California, I was doing a study abroad. That's when I first came to Ghana. I was 20 years old and I turned 21 in Ghana, right? And so always from start, at a young age, I always knew I wanted to live in Africa. I just fell in love with how I was embraced and connected in the people. And I knew I will return. I knew I will live here, right? And so fast forward now, right? 15 years, I'm finally here. But I went from LA to the Bay and then Ghana. So I just kept seeking higher ground.
Right on. So when you were, I love that, because like you went from one Mecca to another, like, because when you were talking in my mind, I can see LA in that scene, and I can also see the Bay. And that just seemed like a natural progression, if you will,
Right.
preparing you to go back home. You know what I mean? So when you was in the Bay, you attended Mills College, and you earned a California teacher credential, which I think is so dope, because we need more people like you in the classrooms, at least work with our children. We need that energy. Trust me. And then you also got a master's degree in education with an emphasis on curriculum and instruction, which is major. What made you do that part? What made you get that teaching credential and to get that master's in education so you could do curriculum and instruction?
Yeah. as you know, representation matters, right? And I could just see the children in the schools as an intern and not having enough Black teachers, not having enough textbooks that represented children of color, not having teachers that came from those same upbringing. I was tired of the white and the Asian teachers and principals that were afraid of the children, that were afraid of the parents. That was a problem. I was tired of the textbooks with the faces of people who didn't look like them. And so, again, I said, you know what? I have to do this for us, and that's also the work that I'm doing here in Ghana, partnering with other organizations like Black Teacher Project, is creating that curriculum, right? Working with the Fulbright Haynes Scholarship and Dr. Akoso Abuating, who helps bring African-American teachers, and working with Ghanaian teachers to create culturally responsive curriculum, right? Because if you don't have books and texts and pictures of things that look like you, then you are going to emulate what is not you. You're going to bleach your skin because all of the dolls have light skin, and that's what's pretty and nice and sweet. You're going to put chemicals in your hair that are going to give you fibroids and cancer because all of the doll's hair is like that, and your hair is not like that. Because no one in the book looks like you, right? And so I knew I had to be not just the assistant, not just the teacher, but the master teacher, right? And, of course, we can have a conversation. You can say, oh, that sister's bright or she's sharp. Yes. But unless you have those Western credentials, right? And another thing is, I need resources to take care of my community. And I needed that higher income with the masters so I can serve all of the youth in the communities that I'm serving, And so definitely a labor of love, an investment in myself, and that's why I'm able to do the work that I do, and people will compensate me because I have the training, professionally in the school systems from these Western institutions, but also from the community. You can go to the community. Parents still to this day reach out to me from Bayview, Hunters Point, wanting to come to Ghana, wanting to move to Ghana, asking me about curriculum, homeschooling their children. And so it was just an investment in myself, an investment in the youth, and an investment in our Black nation, really, to do this work.
Right on. So, sis, before we get into some of the credentialing that you have, because I just think it's like, whoa, everything lines up, I feel. But what was it like for you working inside of the school system in California?
Rolanda, you going there? You going there?
Yeah. For other people want to hear. Like sometimes people don't know. You know what I mean? We think America has the best of everything. You know what I mean? And
let me have some of my tea. I need we're about to go in right now. I need to have a little tea.
Yeah. I mean, this is like firsthand account. Yeah. I was drinking some herbal tea here too in my mug. But what has that experience been like?
Let me take some mindful breath. Let me calm my nervous system down. Woo! All right. So I am thankful for the training that I got working in the public school system. I am blessed to been able to work with the children, though the kids like me, right? The foster kids, the street kids, the hood kids. And I wasn't in, the hill schools. I was in the flatlands and the turfs on the blocks in Hunters Point, right? In Inglewood. in the lower bottoms. And it was a jewel. It was a jewel. It was a jewel to be with my kids, to be with my babies, to hug them and kiss them and play double dutch. And it was a blessing. It was really a blessing. It was intense. It was intense. Sometimes the parents would be annoyed. They said I did too much.
Oh.
Giving too much homework. But again, I was 20 years old going to West Africa, and I would see how my African babies would be studying with lanterns. No light, no electricity. They would come to me with lanterns, Rolanda, at night, saying, Madam, we want to learn. We want to learn. Doing math that was high level math, and they were only like 13 years old, and I'm like, dang, hold on, let me figure this out. Hold on, give me some time.
Wow.
Right? My African Ghanaian babies ran schools around my children in America.
Wow.
So, and they didn't have TV, cell phones, pagers, YouTube, Jordans, Gucci belts and stuff. They didn't have that. So when I was working in the lower bottoms in Oakland, and the parents would say, oh, Miss Ely do too much. He give too much homework. I'm trying to prepare your children for the future because I know what the world has in store for them. I know what's down the road. Right? I know the numbers and the statistics of how many of your children are actually going to graduate high school and actually going to get into the university. Right? And I'm trying to prepare them for the global world, for them babies in China that's going to school 6 days a week. For our Muslim kids going to Arabic school, for the Arabic children going to school on Saturday. So it was intense because my own melanated Black parents would be, not all, because I had some parents that loved me. They'll bring me food, gifts, clothes, all kind of stuff. But I did have some parents that were resentful. They didn't like the amount of rigor that I had, the high expectations that I had for their children. And I understand because they couldn't connect to, again, the public school system, right? It was intense for them. Maybe they didn't do well in school. Maybe they didn't have teachers that nurtured and cultivated them. A lot of the parents didn't understand the work either. They were confused, like, what? I don't know this math.
Right.
You know, right. And so I get it, right? I would have, so that was one. It was a challenge sometimes with some of the parents. From the amount of workload to even my health and wellness policy, right? No hot Cheetos, no sugary junk food. We're not doing that. No, you cannot eat that. I'm taking this. It's in my desk. Your mom and dad can pick it up. Then the parents will get mad. I put hot Cheetos in my baby lunch. Why you take? But when your child is ADHD and bouncing off the wall, and I got 33 kids from Hunters Point, hyphy and doing all of this. No, we're not doing the sugary Cinnabons. We've got hypertension, high blood cholesterol, sugar, obesity, type 2 diabetes. And we're not doing that. You know, so some of the parents didn't like that. And again, I understand it's generational. We've been fed the foods that are at the bottom of the barrel. And so a lot of what I'm offering to the community was foreign to them. Well, my mama fed me Cinnabons and we grew up on hot Cheetos. So if I want to send my baby to school with hot Cheetos and Cinnabons, what's wrong with Miss Ely? It's my parenting. What's wrong? She trying to say I'm not a good mom?
Right.
So it was that, right? Then the dressing. Imagine teaching 10, 11, 12-year-olds, young girls coming into their puberty, and they want to wear leggings to school. And I would have to tell the children and their mamas and daddies and grannies and whoever else, I'm sorry, but leggings is not appropriate for school. First of all, they're sheer, they're see-through. These are not even high, expensive leggings. These are cheap ones where I can see your panties. I can see your cherry panties shining through. And if I can see your cherry panties, then the boys can see your cherry panties, and now they're smacking your booty and pulling your bra strap. And it's now we can't learn math and long division and write these essays that are going to be on these state tests because Keyshawn is distracted from your cherry panties.
Right. I get that.
Right? And so I would say wear leggings, go under your clothes. Right? Leggings go under your clothes to give you the extra warmth, or you have a dress and your leggings are under, but we shouldn't be able to see your booty. I shouldn't be able to see your bra, right? And so it was just a lot of parenting children that even had parents who were parented, and I'm not going to censor myself, but it's just niggadom.
Yeah, that's
right?
real talk.
And niggadom is not going to get us to where we need to go.
Sure not.
Right? So that's just with my people. Then with the administration, I'm coming for the admin. They want to celebrate Christmas. They want to celebrate Halloween. They want to celebrate Valentine's Day. All these holidays that are promoting sugary junk food, promoting more of the childhood obesity, promoting to the high blood pressure, hypertension, type 2 diabetes. These parents won't come to back to school night, not all. A lot of them. We would have higher turnouts for the Valentine's Day parties and the Halloween parade than we did at math night, than we did at literacy night. And I would be firm in telling the admin, get this out of here. Why are we still having the children parade around as Dracula? How about we dress up? If we're going to do Halloween, let's dress up as someone that we admire. Let's dress up as Yaa Santawa. Let's dress up as Malcolm X, our favorite author. Let's remix it. We don't have to do the same old dead stuff. We don't need to be coming in as dead people with blood and chemicals and the face paint. Let's dress up like our leaders. Shirley Chisholm, James Baldwin. Can we dress up like them and share what we've learned? But they didn't want to hear that. They wanted to keep the children and the parents sleep. They wanted to keep them in the comfort of the niggadom. We're just going to regurgitate the same old witches and BS. Excuse me for saying, but just keeping them. And so the admin wouldn't like and didn't really take to some of my suggestions for alternatives. They wanted to keep bringing the white Santa Claus and the Christmas trees to Christmas. Why? When all of our children are Black, and most of our children in these ghettos, their parents really don't even have the money for Christmas. How about we put that money into tutoring for their children, for their college fund or their trade school fund, to getting them skills, not buying them a tree that's going to be dead after 1 month.
That's real talk.
And then dirtying up our community. Because if you've ever driven through Bayview, Hunters Point, Oakland, Inglewood, the community is trashed with paper and trees and junk overflowing the trash cans through March. How about we instead invest that money into, I don't know, tutoring for the children? I don't know, culturally responsive education. How about we make Kwanzaa gifts? How about we learn about the Kwanzaa principles and making gifts? How about we're prideful in our skin, in our hair, and our principles and our culturally responsive practices? versus sitting on this white man's lap.
It's real talk. It's real talk.
Okay. And if I do have a couple more minutes,
No,
if I
please.
may,
Go right ahead.
I was the only Black teacher at Malcolm X Academy for the last 2 or 3 years while I was there in the Bayview Hunters Point, 350 Harbor Road. Check now. Y'all still in California? I go to Bayview Hunters Point, see how many Black teachers they have at that school on the hilltop in Hunters Point.
Yeah.
You run them out of there. They can't even get into the politics of even being a teacher, the hoops that you have to jump through. We can't even afford to live in San Francisco on a teacher's salary.
Yeah. It's real talk.
So that's a whole nother issue. So being the only Black teacher there, they would send me all of the children who had behavioral issues, all of the children that they could not manage. Oh, Miss Ely, we'll send them to your classroom. We'll send them to you. We'll send them to you. We'll send them to you. Nobody wanted to do the dance team. Nobody wanted to be the sponsor for the Black Youth Club. So that was my job. So I just took on the dance team, and I was the teacher liaison for the dance team, and I was the teaching liaison for the PTA, right? Because none of the Asian and white teachers, they're not their kids. That's another thing. When you have teachers that are teaching in a school where the children don't reflect them, they're not their babies. They're there from 8 until 3, and when the bell rings, they leave. They're not trying to do anything extra. They're afraid of the kids. They're afraid of the parents. No, they don't want to be the sponsor of this, the teacher liaison, the class chaperone. Some. You will find some. But more often than not,
that's true. You're right.
I was it all. I was taking kids home, picking them up from school, you name it, giving the girls pads and mentor, all of it. And then again, when I'm in the staff meetings, the staff don't want to take my advice on let's revamp Halloween. Let's revamp Christmas. Let's revamp Valentine's Day. And so I said, you know what? I'm going to launch my own business around holistic education because I'm tired of being on all these committees and being the brains and your token Black teacher, right? I'm about to do my own thing, right? And teaching the mindfulness, teaching the yoga. I got all of that. I got all them credentials. I went to India. I got comedic yoga, womb yoga, all of it. I said, I'm going to do my own culturally responsive, holistic education consultancy. And I'm so much more happier now. And I feel so relieved. I don't have to go to any of those staff meetings and be around those people that are not for our children. They're not for our communities. They're just there for a check. And really, Malcolm said it. When we integrated, that's when we went down. You let the enemy teach your baby, woo, you're lost. And that's all who's teaching our children in the public school system today.
Wow.
What percentage of Black teachers are there Black teachers in America? At least in California, not even 5%, like 3%.
It's very low.
So you have a white teacher, they're still teaching about the Pilgrims and Indians for Thanksgiving, right? They're still letting the children draw their hair straight. And I'm like, girl, you got kinky little curls. You got braids, girl. Do the braids. They don't even know how to draw braids because they just draw the little. I'm like, this is important. Like, identity. Come on. So we definitely need to invest in the Black education, Black teachers. Shout out to Black Teacher Project. Shout out to the San Francisco Alliance of Black School Educators. We out here.
Wow. So your certification, you have womb yoga, energy healing, your doula, postpartums. I mean, sis, like, what made you get all of that?
I can't count on the government to save me, to heal me, to help me, to care for myself, for my community. What did we do before hospitals and before their institutions? Right? And so I'm thankful for my foundation in the academics, but then I had to take it a step further in the holistic healing, right? And also, it was for me to heal my mind and my body and my spirit. I had to reclaim that ancestral medicine. I had to reclaim that was stripped from us, because they called the herbalists witch doctors. That's just grandma's remedies and TT's remedies that we used to do.
Right on.
Right? And so I had to just reclaim that which was stolen. And side note story, I remember from one of my teachers, Sister Divine, she's a birth worker. And she told us that back in slavery, sometimes the Europeans, the colonizers, would specifically poison the slaves after slavery ended. And they were specifically poisoned, or during that time, right, when slavery was ending and, you know, we were just getting free after the Civil War and all that. Sometimes the African Americans were poisoned, and they would watch how they would heal themselves. And they would watch what herbs and berries and roots they would use. So they would poison us and then see what roots and what mixtures and what tinctures, and then they would make their own cough syrup and medicines and their own aspirins from what our mamas and aunties and grandpas were mixing and concocting, right? And so it's just reclaiming what's mine, right? But that's been shunned away. We've been turned away from. But you notice it's now becoming so cool and pop culture, and everybody wants to be a witch and a bruja and an herbalist. But that's just what we did, right?
So what made you move to Ghana?
Let me drink more of my tea. So many reasons, Rolanda, so many reasons. Being around all Black people does something for my psyche. Being around these children. Yes, let's take our tea. Drink some tea. Being around these children that aren't exposed to Babylon, right? Because I love kids, but it's like night and day. The Ghanaian kids that I come into contact with versus the American kids. My own family members, younger family members, and how their respect level, how they support the household, how they help, the respect that they have towards me versus these children that I'm not even related to, right? Case in point, tonight, last minute, somebody called. They said they want to come over to the house. I know we have this interview. We have a couple of guest rooms available at our headquarters. And, you know, we have a youth center for the kids. So they got their little stuff all over the place. And if I know that guests are coming, then, you know, we make sure everything is nice. If we don't have guests, it's like, it's cool. We're here, whatever. He talked, the elder said he coming over. He want to come tonight. I went right outside. I said, Philippa, nah, Inshi, come and help clean your classroom. Come make sure the compound is straight. Yes, auntie. And right away, I'm like, who wants to sweep? Who wants to straighten the shoes? Who wants to take up the trash? Me. They volunteer. They're helpful. They're eager to learn. They're from God. Wow. It hurts because my own children, my own African Americans my own family members. When I go to my family's house, and I'm like, one of my family members in Sacramento, you know, I have 6 younger cousins. And I come over, and the mom, she busy, she working, dad's busy, they working. I'm like, come get these dishes, come do this trash. And they be like, looking at me like, why she telling us what to do? They'll do it, but they be dragging their feet and looking all attitude. These kids be, and that has always been my experience. You know, of course, you got some of the little kids, they, you know, do the chores for, you know, 10 minutes and then they want to hide and run and woo, woo. But it's still 5-10 more that is here, ready to go, you know. And of course, these kids, we look after them, we give them little snacks, give them little perks, they got their little pool, little games. We help them with their school supplies, medicine, whatever we're able to do. So they're just very appreciative and grateful. They're used to working. They're not dumbed down on the phone all day. Right? So I moved because of the children. They're still pure. They're still genuine. They haven't been corrupted by technology. And they be on the technology, but to get a cell phone out here.
Yeah, it's not the same thing. You're right.
It's not the same, right? So I moved because of the love for the youth. I moved because of, like I said, being around all melanated people is good for my mental health. I moved because a little bit of money in the U.S. goes a long way in Africa. The amount of rent I spend in 1 month can last me here for a couple months. You know, we're raising money to buy our headquarters, our youth center, this library, all of this for $100,000, 5 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms, plus a library, plus a whole compound.
Wow.
So we have about half of the money. We have about 50,000. We got another 50,000 to go. It's coming.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
So yeah, a little bit goes a long way. My peace of mind, the natural food, being around all Black people. I can't say that enough. Just being around all melanated Black people, it's like it's a different energy. You know, you don't have and Black people that don't have the trauma of post-traumatic slave syndrome, post-traumatic stress syndrome. Now, don't get me wrong, these West Africans also have been colonized.
I get that.
So they think the lighter skinned is better. They bleed. They got the white Jesus, but they don't have the funk. You're not gonna see them fist fighting and bitch this and nigga this. And it's not. It doesn't. No.
Got you.
They have a sisterhood, brotherhood, a pure love. They have just camaraderie, family. That's something else. The honest truth, I get more love here from people that aren't even my blood. I'm so much more well taken care of. And that is, you know, I could be sad or I could cry or, you know, I'm a little tender. But I'm thankful for the love, however and wherever it comes. And the truth of the matter is people that aren't even blood related to me here in Ghana care, love, look after, support, hold space for me more than my own biological family. More than my own communities. And I'm real proud. I'm Cali, I'm LA, I'm the Bay, all of that, Khalifa Consulting, all of that. But it's the universal family that holds me, right? Yeah.
So tell me about the work that you're doing there in Ghana. It's a lot.
Oh my gosh, where do I start? It's so much. So a couple of things. we support other folks that want to rematriate, supporting them, find housing, get their residency, Ghana card, register their businesses. We support people that just want to visit. We have a youth center here. So we just partnered with West to West movement.
Hey.
West to West is also based in. Are you familiar with West to West?
Oh, that's my baby, Takara and Tia.
Hey,
yeah,
yes.
She just left Ghana. I seen it when I was there. It's one of my former students.
Right. So we met up as well. So they've got they're going to support us with a teacher to come to our youth center to support the youth here. Because we have a drop-in center. We have, books, school supplies, resources. Some of the staff here help out. But, we just need a full-time teacher. And they're like, how can we help you? I'm like, I need a teacher. I need a teacher for my school, for my youth center. Because I can do that, but I'm raising funds for our community space to secure the space, because by June, our lease is up. And if we don't have the money that we need to secure the headquarters, then we're going to be homeless, but not homeless. So I have to focus on getting those funds. So I was calling in for a teacher. West to West, they're like, don't trip. We got you. You've got the youth. You've got the space. You already have a good foundation. We can help bring a teacher in. So we support the Ghanaian youth with academic support, academic foundations. People, donate books, school supplies. We just got a new shipment. I have a box of Imhotep's Learning Math books from Sister Akua, also from California. Now she's in Atlanta. The books were donated by Sister Hunia, also from the Bay. What else? We offer birth support to women that are having, babies, womb massage, postpartum care. So the work that we do for our for-profit supports the community work that we do. So my LLC, Khalifa Consulting, is based in California, right? And then the NGO, Universal Family Network, is based in Ghana. And so it's the work that we do and the resources that are coming in through the LLC that allow us to offer the birth support, the mental health support, the postpartum care, the wellness massage, the educational supplies, food for the children, the outings, excursions for the youth. Yeah. And then also we reach out to the different chiefs and community members, specifically that were involved in the slave trade, those communities, and ask for land, for folks that want to come back. So we currently have 16 plots of land from the Volta region to Kumasi that most of them were gifts. Out of the 16 plots, 2 of them I bought. 14 plots of land were gifted to create intentional community. So we also advocate for that. So we're doing a lot. So we're calling more of our brothers and sisters, come home, come to Ghana, tap in with us. We've got land here for cultivating. It's virgin land. They're farming on some of the land now. We've got baobab trees. We've got coconut trees. We've got cassava. We've got corn.
Uh-oh. Hold on, family. She'll be right back in. The work she's doing is totally, totally amazing. And please, I put the information at the bottom, Sister Victoria. And it has her email and her phone number and where she is on Instagram, and also her website. If you go to her website, you'll see all the information. So, and she's signing back in now. So, hey, sis. Okay. So you were saying y'all got stuff planted on the land, cassava, cocoa. Yeah.
it's a lot. So we just need more of our brothers and sisters that are ready to make that move to support us in building up, our intentional communities here. There's a number of African Americans here, a number of diasporans here. We're working with, our Ghanaian family to bridge we don't want to create our own African American community. We want to integrate. We want to cross-pollinate. We want to support each other in this work. And so that's also what we're doing here, is creating a bridge, the cross-cultural Pan-African family.
Right on. Sis, this has been like a real amazing conversation. I'm looking at the time. When you were breaking right there, I was telling people to go to your website. There's your information. Support, ask 1,000 questions for those who are watching. Get more information, but it's definitely worth it, family. I mean, considering where we are in the U.S. right now, being that I just got back from Ghana, and 3 times during the week, I take my nephew to school. And as we're driving throughout Sacramento, there's so many homeless people. It makes no sense. Like just all of these homeless camps. And I think y'all, the handwriting is on the wall. And so before it knocks on your door, get ahead of it and turn back to the motherland and figure out how this is one opportunity for you to return home, but with your resources. Other cultures are here for resources and they're taking it back to their countries. This is your opportunity to do that. And I really believe our ancestors wanted to do it, but didn't know how. We actually know how. So I say, go home, go home. So sis, thank you so much. Don't hang up. Let me just wrap this up, but don't hang up. Family, I will see you all next week. Thank you for joining in. Take care, family. Thank you, sis, for coming on with me. Thank you.
It was a pleasure. It was an honor. Thank you so much for inviting me to have this dialogue, to share my story with the world. And I know the right people will be touched and the message will get through to them. I'm just sending love and light to you and all your relations.
Thank you.
Artlist.io. Music licensing reimagined. Artlist.io. Music licensing reimagined.